What 5 nights of poor sleep does to your brain. After just 1 night of insufficient sleep, the brain begins adapting immediately, not symbolically, biologically. Neural communication becomes less efficient. Attention starts to fluctuate. Emotional regulation requires more effort. And yet, most people continue their day unaware that these changes are already unfolding. Sleep is often treated as passive rest, but for the brain, it is an active period of regulation, repair, and neurological maintenance. When that process is shortened repeatedly, the effects do not remain confined to the night. They begin shaping how the brain functions during the day. To understand how quickly this can occur, let's observe what happens across 5 consecutive nights of poor sleep, and how the brain responds as restoration is repeatedly interrupted. Night 1. Subtle neurological friction. After a single shortened night, the brain rarely signals distress dramatically. Instead, something quieter appears. Communication between neurons becomes slightly less coordinated, particularly in regions responsible for attention and working memory. Tasks that normally feel automatic may require more conscious effort. You may reread the same sentence, lose track of a thought, find focus harder to sustain. The brain is still highly capable, just less efficient. For many, this passes unnoticed, attributed to stress, distraction, or a busy schedule. But neurologically, the brain is already compensating. Night 2. Emotional centers become more reactive. By the second night, the brain begins prioritizing essential function over optimal regulation. One of the areas most affected is the amygdala, the structure deeply involved in emotional processing. Research shows that when sleep is restricted, the amygdala can become significantly more reactive to negative stimuli. At the same time, its communication with the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for rational modulation, weakens. The result is often subtle but recognizable. Irritability that feels disproportionate, lower patience, heightened emotional sensitivity. Not because personality has changed, but because regulation now requires more neurological effort. By the third night, the brain starts adjusting how it uses energy. Glucose metabolism, the brain's primary fuel process, becomes less efficient. This matters because the brain consumes a remarkable amount of the body's daily energy. When fuel utilization shifts, mental clarity often follows. Thought processes may feel slower, decision-making less fluid, complex reasoning more mentally taxing. Many describe this simply as brain fog, but beneath that sensation is a brain working harder to achieve the same cognitive output. Night 4. Memory consolidation. Disrupted sleep plays a critical role in stabilizing memory. During deeper sleep stages, the brain organizes information, strengthening useful neural pathways while pruning others. Without sufficient sleep, this consolidation becomes less reliable. New information may feel harder to retain. Recall less immediate. It is not that the brain stops learning. It is that learning becomes less neurologically anchored. Over time, this creates the impression of mental fragmentation, as though experiences are passing through without fully settling. Night 5. The brain shifts toward conservation. By the 5th consecutive night, the brain begins operating in a more protective mode. Rather than optimizing performance, it prioritizes basic functionality. Attention narrows, cognitive flexibility decreases, reaction time slows, even risk perception can change, with the brain sometimes favoring short-term reward over long-term judgment. This is not failure, it is adaptation. The brain is remarkably resilient, but resilience does not mean immunity. It means the brain finds ways to continue, even under less than ideal conditions. Convergence. Notice the pattern. None of these changes arrive dramatically. They accumulate quietly. One shortened night rarely defines neurological health. But repeated interruption of restoration begins shifting how the brain regulates emotion, processes information, stores memory, and allocates energy, often without conscious awareness. Perspective shifting close. Slow this down. Sleep is sometimes viewed as time lost, hours traded for productivity. But neurologically, sleep is not an absence of activity. It is one of the most sophisticated maintenance processes the brain performs. Each night is an opportunity for recalibration, and when that opportunity is repeatedly shortened, the brain does what it has always done. It adapts. The question is not whether the brain can compensate. It often can. The deeper question is what kind of clarity, stability, and cognitive ease become possible when it no longer has to. Because understanding sleep is not simply about rest. It is about recognizing the conditions the brain relies on to function at its highest capacity. Subscribe to Vera Human and continue understanding the biology shaping your future.